Did you know that there are actually close to 200 social media platforms to choose from? So, how do you know which ones are right for your business? Where do you even begin? If you're feeling overwhelmed and confused, you're not alone. Starting to grow your social media is a minefield, but strap yourselves in because it's here to stay, so you might as well get started. Welcome to the Property Management Podcast. I'm your host, Kylie Walker, aka That Property Mum. Now, can I ask you a quick favour before we dive in to today's episode? I'd be super grateful if you could give the podcast a follow, rate, and review. We all know how important reviews are for business these days, and mine is no different. I also want to invite you over to my Instagram page. If you aren't already following me on there, that's where I hang out a lot. I share a lot more of my personal and professional life on there. And if you'd love to connect with me on a deeper level, I invite you to jump in and send me a DM. This year has been all about building new connections, and I'd love you to be part of it. Now, social media. You can't live with it, and you certainly can't live without it in the current business era. Now, we've got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, WhatsApp, Twitter, Snapchat, and the list goes on and on. I'm not going to name all 200 of them. So where should you focus your energy and efforts when it comes to marketing your business on social media? And I want to make a very important distinction here when it comes to marketing your business on social media. Now, social media is designed for that very purpose, to make people more social. So you need to take that into consideration when posting and sharing content. It's not about selling. It's about connecting your audience, gaining their trust, and demonstrating your expertise. At the same time, though, you need to be personable and relatable too. And it can be a very delicate balance. And I take a deep dive into this topic in a workshop I have put together due to popular demand from my audience who are struggling with their social media. It's designed to help you set up your social media for lead generation, and I'll share the link in the show notes below. Now, let's talk about where you need your business to be seen on social media. Which platforms are going to help you expose your personal brand, generate more leads, and grow your business? Now, you can't be everything to everyone at the same time. So an important thing to remember is to pick one platform at a time and get set up there, posting consistently before adding another. Otherwise, your chances of success on any platform will diminish. So let's get started. How do you work out which social media platforms to be on? Well, first you need to work out who your ideal clients are. The first and most important factor you'll need to take into consideration is, where are your ideal clients? Who are they, and where do they like to hang out on social media? Nothing else really matters if your ideal audience isn't active on the channel. Facebook, for example, has more active users than any other network. But if your audience likes to hang out on Instagram, that's where you need to be. That said, internet users, or most internet users, have an average of 8 social media accounts. So you should definitely consider other factors when determining where you want to have a presence. You also need to consider your company. Your services, your brand personality, and your values should all influence your platform selection too. Highly visual brands like a graphic design or artist, for example, would explore very different channels to a real estate brand. Some channels have broad appeal to different businesses and brands like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, while others are very niche. You really just need to weigh up what makes sense for your business and understand what your company does impacts the options available to you. Now, you also want to research your competitors and others in your industry. One of the first steps I take when developing a social media strategy for a client is to conduct a competitive analysis. This provides information like what platforms are they using, what's working and what's not working, and how engaged is the audience on each channel. While you shouldn't do something just because your competitor is, it's useful to see what others in your space are doing so you're making an informed decision. Now, you also want to align with your overall social media marketing goals. Now, the reasons you're on social media in the first place will also impact your decision. If you want to share content and engage with your followers, there are several networks that will work depending on the type of content you share. However, if customer support is a top goal for you, Twitter and Facebook should be on the top of your consideration list before Instagram. Now, you'll also want to understand the different platforms and their uses. Now, each social media platform has its own personality and ways of communicating. Twitter is great for conversations and trending topics, while LinkedIn is good for sharing professional expertise and company information. Snapchat was the first to introduce disappearing posts, but Instagram stories now act in a similar way. So spend some time understanding the channels you're considering and make sure you know what the communication protocol is. This will not only help you pick the best platforms for your company, but will also help you avoid wasting time and energy posting on the wrong platforms. Keep in mind your available resources as well. Now, I'm not going to lie. Creating and managing social media is a commitment. You need to tend to it, you need to nurture it, you need to give to it what you'd like to see come back to you. If you only have one person who can devote, say, 5 hours a week to your social media, you'll want to limit your channels to 1 or 2. If you have a full-time person, however, you can have several channels. Just remember though, social media will greedily soak up all the time you have and make you feel like you're not putting enough energy into it. So before you open a new channel, ask yourself, do you have the resources necessary to be successful? Now, for both of my businesses, real estate and That Property Mum, I focus on 3 major platforms: Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Now, I've recently added YouTube to That Property Mum, mainly because it works well with the podcast platform, and I can share this content across both. TikTok is definitely a platform to keep an eye on, as it's one of the fastest growing for social media. Again, though, it all comes down to where your clients are. And if they are mostly scrolling through TikTok, then that's where you need to be. So I look forward to seeing your awkward dances on there. Now, I want to share a little bonus tip with you as well. Once you're on more than one social media platform, you can actually repurpose your content to share across multiple platforms. For example, in my own real estate business, I write a weekly blog, which then gets shared on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook as posts. It also goes to my stories as well. And then something like this can then be shared multiple times by your own team. And the algorithm loves content that has been shared and engaged with. This helps it get exposed to more and more people. And again, I'll share more about this in my upcoming workshop on setting up your social media for lead generation. So if you'd like to join me inside that workshop, there will be a link below in the show notes. Thank you for joining me in this episode, and don't forget to give me that follow, rate, and review. And stay tuned. We've got some more episodes coming up on social media for you to dive into. Thanks, guys.